Will Amelia Harvey, the newly elected president of the Undergraduate Student Council for 2017-2018, please come forward and accept custody of the mace. Good morning. Please be seated. My name is Marc Montéa. I'm the Vice President for Security Operations and Student Services, and I will be serving today as the Master of Ceremonies for this year's graduation ceremony. AUP graduate students, families, friends, and distinguished guests, good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the commencement exercise of the graduating class of 2017. Chers futurs diplômés, chers parents, chers amis et chers invités, bonjour. J'ai le plaisir de vous souhaiter la bienvenue à la cérémonie de remise des diplômes de la classe 2017. What a beautiful morning. It's not too hot, it's sunny, just perfect. And what a joy to celebrate your success, class of 2017, and your families. We're all proud of you, because you've made it. So let's enjoy this day and let's begin our commencement exercise. I now call on Provost Grant to give the welcome address to the 2017 graduating class.
Bonjour. Buenos días. Sabal her. Welcome. Distinguished guests, trustees, faculty, staff of AUP, and family and friends of our wonderful graduates. I wish to welcome you to the AUP graduation of May 2017. See there. Well, can't make too many more mistakes. My name is Marcia Grant, and I am the interim provost and academic vice president of the American University of Paris. I've been here only 1 year. I came up from Ashesi University College in Accra, Ghana last year. And yet it seems like I've been with you for a long time, because this is a very, very special international community, multicultural community, and I've been made to feel so welcome. And yet, while I feel like I've been here for a long time, it's also gone by so fast. One of my pleasures has been to get to know some of you graduating seniors and master's degree students, and one of my real regrets is that I have been unable to know more of you. But I can celebrate with you today. Dear graduates, we are here today to celebrate you and your remarkable achievements over these past few years. This is a time of joy, enormous joy. You've finished, you've achieved, you're about to start life in the real world. Actually, I'm thinking about you, and I'm thinking about President Macron of France, who is quite a young president, you know. It's really exciting that he was elected. I'm not going to show any political predilections here, but I think it was quite exciting that he was elected. And I see us today as sort of a parallel to what he did a couple of Sundays ago when he was sworn in as President of France. It was wonderful ceremony, wonderful ceremony. It was dignified and elegant and yet touchingly friendly and human. And I hope that's what today is like for you in celebrating your graduation. The other part of it, of course, is that this week he's had to start getting real about politics. And last week he had to appoint a cabinet, and now he has to prepare and hope and pray and work like the Dickens to get enough people elected to the French Parliament so that he has a good political base so he can carry out his promises. But that's for the 11th of June. In the same way, today for you is to celebrate. You're getting your degrees, and that's what's exciting. So, what I want you to do, graduates, is to stand. Will you please stand? Oh, my word. First of all, and you're going to have to sort of turn and look in a semicircle, I want you to join me in honoring your family and friends who have traveled and come from so far to see you graduate. And, you know, I suspect they've given you lots more than moral support. They've given you financial support. They've been there for you. And sometimes, of course, they've been that person or people against whom you've had to argue in order to be at AUP. And that's important too. It's made you strong. So think of them as having made sacrifices for you. You've worked really hard to get here today, and I want you to join me in honoring your family and friends and saying thank you. Now, tucked in down here, you must be on very small chairs. We have the faculty of AUP, and this is a wonderful faculty with so many strengths. I have found it unbelievable how much, given what great teachers they are, how much they publish and do research. This is a really impressive faculty. And they have cared about you, and they've mentored you, and they've given you a hard time, too, sometimes. It's part of the package. So I want you to join me in honoring your faculty and giving them a big hand. And now, I'd like to honor the staff of AUP, and they're scattered around because that's how staff is so often. They're hidden in back offices, and they're there to help you out. Sometimes you think, wow, they're bureaucratic, but your advisors are the ones who get you through to make sure you have all the requirements so you can graduate, right? And I'd like you to turn around. You may see some of our staff right now to give them a big thank you and hand. Now, I'd like to say just a little bit about these funny caps and gowns that we're all wearing. And no, we're not going to sit down yet. I've got a little game I'm going to play. So is it too uncomfortable? Okay. Is it, would you like to sit down now? I can tell this. Yes, you would. Okay, I'm flexible. So let's do this because we are such an international student body at AUP, and we are such an intercultural student body, and we have students, you are from 110 nationalities, and you speak many different languages. And in fact, I'd like to show our family and friends just how many languages you speak. So I'm going to ask everyone who speaks only one language, please sit down. You win. Oh, Crystal, that's marvelous. Now, Everyone who speaks only 2 languages, please sit down. Only 3 languages, please sit down. Wow. Wow. Only 4 languages, please sit down. More than 5? Oh! Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, it is so important to have people like you, all of our dear graduates, because you are people who do not see boundaries. You are people who reach across to other cultures. You are people who see the world in a cooperative perspective. And we are so in need of your help and leadership for the future. Don't forget that, please. Now that you're seated, I just wanted to have you give thanks to another group, and that's each other, your friends. Friendship here at AUP has been so amazing. It won't be easy for you to keep up with each other. You're going to have to get on planes a lot, I think. But these friends whom you've made at AUP are going to be your friends for the rest of your life. And just as I graduated from university in 1960, I still stay with my roommates from college when I go to New York or to Washington, D.C. So you see, it's important to keep in touch with each other. You know each other so well. You know who's messy in your dorm, in your apartments. You know who's late. You know who gets their work done on time and who doesn't. You know all of that about each other. And guess what? You know, we don't change a lot over life. You've made some interesting habits while you've been here. But you are a remarkable group of graduates, and I want you to give each other a great big hand. Now, there's something about these crazy caps and gowns that we wear. These are a symbol of what you have achieved, what you have inside you. It's a symbol of something that can't be robbed from you. It's something that cannot be taken away in a divorce. It is something that no flood will wash it away. It's your education. It's your outstanding liberal arts education. I love, love, love the term in Spanish of furnishing ourselves inside. Your liberal arts education has been amoblándose adentro. Anyone understand that? Furnishing yourselves inside with this remarkable education, which has taught you to ask questions, to question, to think critically, but also to appreciate, to see beauty, to see difference and understand it and reach out to it. So that what we are wearing today, this symbol, the cap and gown, is a symbol of an education that cannot be taken from you and that gives you the skills for lifelong learning. Now, as someone who started her career, because you're about to start careers, at the best career of my life, I started at age 60. And my career, which I could never have imagined, so my whole life has really been full of unexpected things. It was a career, it's been a career to work on new universities in Africa and the Middle East and South Asia, and now Paris. I mean, sugar plum on top. This career has taken me to Karachi, to Jeddah, to Accra, and now to Paris. And I've learned something from it, and I want to share that with you. One is, trust yourselves. Listen to what your insides tell you. So often, and this is awful, parents, you'll forgive me, but very often I will say, what do you want? What do your parents want? And if they're the same thing, I'm sorry, but I get awfully suspicious. Think about who you are and what your passion is, and don't distrust that. Your gut is an important way of knowing in your life. Now, the second thing I want you to do is take your time. This morning in that taxi, I was really impatient, as it took a half an hour to get around the block. And I had to keep saying, it's okay, take your time. But I mean it. Take your time. Whatever you do in these next few years will add up. And you don't know. You may find yourself doing something that you didn't think you'd be interested in, and suddenly it will fit. So I think that in your 20s and early 30s, just savoring the things that you do and seeing how they fit together and fit you is a really big part of your next kind of education. And finally, do what we've just done, and that is give thanks every day. Acts of gratitude, really, they also help us inside. So, if we can say how grateful we are that you have been here at AUP, because we really are, you have given us so much. And we hope that you will feel grateful also for having been to AUP, and for your family, and for your friends, and for your faculty. So, what we want you to do is to remember us and to stay in touch. Hasn't it been amazing to be educated in Paris? Congratulations and best wishes.
The American University Paris has a tradition of honoring those students, faculty members, staff members, and distinguished individuals whose performances have been exceptional and whose contributions to the university deserve special recognition. Every year at graduation, we begin with an award ceremony to honor special achievements in the areas of scholarship, teaching, research, and service to the institution. I now call on Ray Hansey, AUP's Chairman of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Mark. Congratulations, graduates, and congratulations, parents. My daughter sat in your seat in 2010, and I was sitting back there in 2010 as well, and it's a wonderful moment. Our first award is the Board of Trustees Valedictorian Prize for Outstanding Scholastic Achievement. The Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris recognizes annually the graduating senior who exemplifies truly outstanding achievement and academic excellence, and who has made a significant contribution to the life of the university. The Board of Trustees Valedictorian Award for Outstanding Scholastic Achievement for undergraduate students goes to Petra Krupova. Petra achieved a cumulative GPA of 3.958 out of 4. the highest in the class. Congratulations. Board of Trustees Valedictorian Award for Outstanding Scholastic Achievement for Graduate Students goes to Rachel Fallon. Rachel achieved a cumulative GPA of 4.0 out of 4.0, the highest in the class. Rachel? The Sing-Ming Shaw Award. Every year, the Sing-Ming Shaw Award recognizes an outstanding piece of scholarly work by an AUP student. The Sing-Ming Shaw Committee was very impressed by the quality and interdisciplinary reach of this year's submissions, and after an animated discussion and considerable deliberation, this year's committee has awarded 1 prize and 2 honorable mentions. The committee would like to commend the work of Lucy Moore, her literary translation, critical commentary, and personal reflection on Thomas Vinot's Ici ça va demonstrated both technical proficiency and intellectual sensitivity. She shows an assured grasp of the academic field, as well as revealing a refreshingly honest personal perspective. The committee would also like to commend the work of Petra Krupavan. For her honors thesis on corruption in sports management. This thesis showed a very impressive depth of research and succeeded in synthesizing a wide-ranging debate into a compelling narrative. And after careful deliberation, the committee has decided that this year's Sin-Ming Shaw Prize should be awarded to Kendra Mills. For her thesis entitled 3 Contradictions of Women's Rights in Rwanda, Redefining Identity, Power, and Elitism. This thesis impressed the committee not only with the quality of its research, but also its comparative methodology, which combined legal and feminist theoretical frameworks, as well as oral history testimonies. Kendra manages to distill the complexities of pre-genocide Rwandan politics and to situate its legal frameworks in a society whose recognizable transitions tend to mask its less recognizable conservatisms. This thesis stood out for both the originality of its research and the sophistication and clarity of its argument. Is Kendra here? We'll still give her a round of applause. Now we're going to turn to the Board of Trustees Faculty Awards, which I enjoy every year. The Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris honors each year a professor whose performance in the classroom is exemplary. AUP professors evince the highest possible commitment to the art of teaching and to its central role in a liberal arts education. The Board of Trustees Award for Excellent Teaching in 2017, it says 2017, 2018, I don't think so, Marcia, got the wrong dates, goes to Jonathan Shimoni. In a field packed with worthy contenders, Jonathan, our art professor, distinguished himself. In the past 9 years, Jonathan's energy, insight, and characteristic passion have inspired our student body. The students' glowing nomination letters especially praised his interactive approach, availability outside of class, dedication to building our art gallery, and encouragement towards each and every student. And as one student noted, he somehow manages to always have a smile on his face. Jonathan, congratulations. Thank you for upholding our educational vision and for standing as an example to all of us. It's also the pleasure of the Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris to honor outstanding faculty achievement in the areas of research and publication, instructional design, innovation, and interdisciplinary innovation. I will call the 3 award winners at the same time after lauding their work. The award for innovation in instructional design goes to Christy Shields for her creation of a transformative course called Food, Culture, and Communication. This course culminated in a meticulously planned trip to Jura region that, as students testified, inspired you to rethink your relationship to land and family, reflect on the traditions that you hope to pass down, and tempt you to leave behind the urban landscape in favor of living off the grid in rural France. The award for innovation for interdisciplinary studies goes to Ruth Coran, Marie-France Derry, and Georgie Stojanov. Over the past 2 years, these professors did tireless research and work that culminated in a newly introduced major, mathematics and computer science. This curriculum is grounded in the liberal arts and designed for students searching for connecting computer science and mathematics. This major also exposes students to our outstanding faculty in math and science. The award for outstanding research and publication goes to Stéphane Malo. Professor of Entrepreneurship and Management of Innovation. His paper on the alliances and the innovation performance of corporate and public research spin-off firms was published in the prestigious Small Business Economics Journal. It was presented at the 2016 conference of the British Academy of Management, the leading authority on the academic field of management in the United Kingdom, where it received a Best Full Paper award.
It's now my pleasure to give the Presidential Awards. We are delighted this year to award the very first Lubner Family Philanthropy Award to recognize the contributions of an outstanding student engaged in volunteer and philanthropic activity within the AUP community. This award, which includes a cash gift, is offered annually by AUP father Mark Lubner and his daughter Takara, class of 2014, who founded AUP Cares, an umbrella organization of service clubs across AUP. The goal of the award is to raise awareness and inspire engagement within the student community. In memory of Bertie Lubner, Takara's grandfather, who received an honorary degree last year, and in the presence of her father and brother for this first awarding of the prize, I'm very pleased to present this award to rising senior Jasmine Paul. Jasmine is the future Vice President of the Student Government Association, and we honor her for embodying the spirit of volunteer culture at AUP. She characteristically puts others first and has been a driving force in making Charity Week an institution at AUP, raising funds for Africa Tikkun, supporting a local Parisian soup kitchen, and working with her peers to strengthen the outreach of Bekna Avu, an organization at AUP that supports Syrian refugees. Good. The Staff Award for Distinguished Service, for which there were 15 meritorious nominees, goes to AUP librarian Michael Stoppel, who sadly can't be with us today. Nominated by his peers, Michael is credited with having taken down the wall between the library and the classroom at AUP, using innovative teaching techniques to help students become agents in their own learning and collaborating with faculty to build information literacy into the intellectual fabric of our courses. In a world of too much information, Michael has served students and faculty alike as a guide and interpreter, and he's collaborated with faculty on revising AUP's Common Core learning goals and has organized powerful workshops pairing librarians and professors to build information literacy into everything we teach. Michael is also beloved by students for his passion for teaching in the classroom and also his willingness to give reference help by Skype to people who still might be finishing a paper at home. Finally, for his devotion to showing students how to discover, use, and create knowledge effectively and ethically. So, Michael isn't here today, but we honor him for this award. The Distinguished Alumni Award is for 2017. May I ask Davina Durgana to come up to the platform? Davina Durgana. I want you to stand next to me while I read your laudation. Davina Durgana, graduate alumna, class of 2012. We are so proud of your life choices. A brilliant labor statistician, you have done the world's work in taking a statistical approach to solving one of the most dehumanizing problems of our time, marshaling math against slavery to eradicate human trafficking everywhere it is practiced, and that means everywhere on earth, especially in developed countries. As you have written, anywhere there are vulnerable people and a viable market, there will be trafficking. After receiving your master's in International Affairs, Conflict Resolution and Civil Society Development at AUP, and your doctorate from American University School of International Studies, you created a statistical model called the Human Vulnerability Diagnostic Tool to measure and identify human trafficking abuses around the globe. Your method of tracking these abuses, which guides governments and NGOs the world over, the U.S. Department of Justice, and the Polaris Project, transcends anecdotal and subjective accounts, replacing them with statistical models that use vulnerability indices and Gallup data to help you identify where trafficking is likeliest to occur. You have since created with colleagues the Global Slavery Index, covering 167 countries to estimate and pinpoint instances of human exploitation worldwide. Today you teach global health and statistics at American University in Washington, but you've always been a star, earning a shout out from none other than Michelle Obama during your undergraduate commencement at GWU. You also earned a prestigious White House internship in the office of Joe Biden, for whom you subsequently worked. This spring you were awarded a spot on this year's Forbes 30 Under 30 list in the science category, making a name for yourself amongst the brightest young entrepreneurs, innovators, and game changers of the year. We know that you feel called to public service, and we just want to let you know we're going to be supporting that campaign with all our hearts. Big hand. And now the Presidential Medal for Distinguished Achievement, 2017. The person receiving this will not be able to be here today because she's 101 years old, but I want you to know that I spent Friday evening in her presence for a few hours, being received in the way she characteristically receives, which is champagne and canapé. Olivia de Havilland, a world-renowned and revered actress, you hold a very special place in the public imagination. A citizen of the world, an AUP parent, a former trustee, and a resident of Paris since the mid-50s, you have also played a beloved role in ours. Born in Tokyo, you moved to California with your mother and sister, the actress Joan Fontaine. At 18 years, you played the role of Hermia in Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream at the Hollywood Bowl, and thus began your remarkable career. By 1935, you had signed with Warner Brothers and were paired with swashbuckler Errol Flynn, with whom you made 8 films, including Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood. But your talent took you much beyond those early films. You would go on to garner Academy Award nominations for your unforgettable performance in Gone with the Wind, the most popular film of all time. And for Hold Back the Dawn, you won Best Actress awards for To Each His Own and The Heiress. Always a fighter, you took on the studio culture in Hollywood by first refusing to accept further parts for Sweet Young Things. You ultimately took Warner Brothers to court for financial abuses of your contract, and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court of California. The landmark 1945 judgment created the de Havilland Rule, which limited the length of a studio contract to a maximum of 7 calendar years. Victory, though, came at a steep price because you did not make a film for 3 years. But when you did, playing an unwed mother who was forced to give up her child, you won the Oscar for Best Actress. A member of the ACP board, the American College of Paris, the first half of our life as a university, in the late 1960s, you were the only woman on the board. You empathized with the political ideas of the students in those turbulent times, and you encouraged fellow board members to take on board some of these new ideas. Ever true to your principles, when you could not win the battle for the students, you resigned from AUP's then, for your taste, way too conservative board. The star of 49 films, author of a best-selling memoir, recipient of a star on the Walk of Fame, you received endless standing ovations at a lifetime tribute from the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, received the National Medal of Arts from President George Bush and the Légion d'honneur from Nicolas Sarkozy, the French president. All of these for an illustrious life in cinema, a life sumptuously well-lived. 100 years young, Ms. de Havilland, you are a cherished member of the American University of Paris community. So.
It's now time for Students' Awards. I now call on Sarah Harper Johnston and Crystal Kramer, this year's presidents of the Undergraduate and Graduate Student Councils, to present the Student Government Awards.
Okay, I hit the thing. Okay. Hello. The Student Government Association is here to provide a space for students to voice opinions and to foster community building. We have had one heck of a year, thanks to the hard work and dedication of the entire executive team, the senators and student leaders, and the student body population as a whole. Sarah and I are proud to have been a part of such an amazing organization this year.
Not only does SGA plan events, but we sponsor clubs, so students can become involved in anything from music, wine, fashion, to politics, or even entrepreneurship. Today, we especially want to recognize the service clubs that give back to the community. We have a club that collects laptops and delivers them to university students in Mombasa, Kenya, clubs that sell jewelry and other merchandise for organizations in Peru and UNICEF worldwide, clubs that visit children's hospitals in Paris and hold art workshops, and a club called BV Syria that holds workshops for Syrian refugees right on our campus. In fact, in the lobby of this theater, BV Syria is selling books with artwork from the Human Element Project, so please visit their table after the ceremony today. But all of these service clubs are so important, and we would like to take this moment and honor all of you for your incredible work. Now for the first award. The first award is the Outstanding Staff Member. In student government, we are surrounded by so many incredible staff members who without SGA would not exist, which makes giving out this award incredibly difficult. That being said, this staff member has worked above and beyond with not only the executive team, but with over the 20 clubs we have at AUP. Not only does she help us to simply function, but she is always available to give advice, diffuse our moments of stress, or simply make us laugh. The Outstanding Staff Member Award goes to Joelle Guiwob.
Unfortunately, Joelle can't be with us today, but she wrote us a very nice email to say thank you and that she loves working with students, and go us. Okay. The second award is the Outstanding Faculty Member Award. This award goes to a member of faculty who's gone above and beyond the call of duty outside of the classroom. This professor is someone who strives to provide opportunities for his or her students to advance themselves through job and internship opportunities. As one student said, this professor, and I quote, remembers your career interests, and whenever they come across anything in that area, they will contact you ASAP and help you get it. I am pleased to present this award to Matthew Frazier. There he goes. Take your time, they're crazy steps. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. Our next award, Outstanding Undergraduate Student Leader, goes to a particular student that has gone above and beyond during her entire time at AUP to not only become an active member of the community, but she works even harder to build that community up for other students. Earlier this semester, after a difficult loss of both a student and a friend, this leader's ever-present spirit and willingness to help others did not disappear as she helped the community to collectively heal together. This student has been an orientation advisor, member of the SGA executive team, and is the young ambassador of Georgia in France. She is the senior representative at Student Senate, which means she has worked to create an unbelievable gala for all of us this evening. The Outstanding Undergraduate Student Leader Award goes to Keti Archaya. It's fine. I'll hug you after.
Okay, shuffle around. Okay, this final award is actually two awards. We had a tie for the Outstanding Graduate Student Leader Award. These two women have shown themselves to be wonderfully compassionate friends and engaging leaders. Of one of the recipients honored today, a fellow student said, "She elevates the quality of my scholastic experience with her existence at AUP." Of the other, another student said, "She has been a role model for her fellow students and a source of emotional support for her peers." It is my immense pleasure and honor to present these awards to Habak Duxier and Connie Moreland. You are bad at this, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Women and men of the class of 2017, it is now my greatest pleasure to present to you the honorary degree recipients who stand as exemplars to you as you graduate and to all of us here proudly witnessing your commencement. In anniversary years, AUP awards honorary doctorates to our own. and thus for our 55th anniversary as the only comprehensive bachelor and master's foreign accredited university on French soil, we are lauding the extraordinary diplomatic but also pedagogical work of 3 ambassadors, each of whom believes passionately in the power of education to break down the boundaries that separate us from one another in a complex, globalizing world. At AUP, as each of you knows, we've been answering the probing question of our founder, Lloyd DeLameter, for as long as we've existed as an institution. A question as relevant today as when he asked it, just as when he uttered it himself in the wake of World War II. How do we transcend the bounds of narrow nationalisms, he asked. We believe at AUP that the world's greatest problems are largely transnational, that to find solutions to poverty, to pandemics, to the vast chasm of income inequality, to the destruction of our environment, to terror, war, state violence, genocide, and the trafficking of human beings, we will need to work together with all our hearts across everything that divides us. Insular nationalisms are not the solution. We believe that it is young people like you receiving your diplomas today, border crossers of all kinds, disciplines, languages, nationalities, cultures, ethnicities, faiths, who will find empowering solutions to the problems of our time. May I ask Sultan Al Saud Al Qasimi to come to the podium, the chair of the board. Mr. Chair, distinguished guests, faculty, students, parents, friends, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first candidate for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, from the American University of Paris, Sultan Saud Al Qasimi, from the class of 1998. Sultan, your alma mater recognizes the exceptional role you have played as a journalist and a witness of our times, first in your weekly English language column in your native Emirates, but also in the Financial Times, The Independent, The Guardian, The Huffington Post, The New York Times, and Foreign Policy. In addition, we watched you become the foremost cultural translator of the Egyptian Revolution, painstakingly translating that political movement from Arabic to English and developing a world-famous Twitter feed and following in the process. I think 500,000 people follow you today. Is it higher than that? Roughly. And since that time, we've continued to follow you, a watchful, forthright commentator on international, political, and social issues, always upholding universal human freedoms, condemning damaging stereotypes and the bigotry they promote, speaking out in favor of tolerance of cultural differences, and championing democratic processes and institutions, such as freedom of speech. All of this with expressed respect for the cultural traditions within you and yourself, within which you yourself work and live. Finally, we salute your work as the founder of the Barjeel Art Foundation, one of the largest and most diverse personal collections of modern and contemporary Arab art in the world. Barjeel has not only had impact within the region, but outside, at exhibits in London and Paris, New Haven and New York, Iran and Eastern Europe, and soon in Mexico City and Richmond, Virginia. Your collection has created the ties that bind us. The works you share across the globe remind us poignantly, our many differences notwithstanding, that we all suffer, wage war, love, resist, and rise up in recognizably human ways, especially in a globalized world. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris, and with the recommendation of the faculty voting in assembly, I confer upon you, Sultan Saud Al Qasimi, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. As you accept this degree in hood, we are proud to honor you as a member of the American University of Paris community. ask Her Excellency Huda Ibrahim Al-Khamis to come to the podium. And please watch your step. There. Huda. Mr. Chair, distinguished guests, faculty, students, parents, friends, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our second candidate for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, Her Excellency Huda Ibrahim Al-Khamis. Your Excellency, a former AUP student, 1981 to 1983, a terrible family tragedy prevented you, indeed deprived you, of making your graduation at AUP and receiving your diploma, and that is why it is our honor today to give you your long-awaited and much-merited honorary doctorate from your alma mater. Born in Lebanon to a Saudi father and a Syrian mother, educated in Paris, working today at a crossroads of musical and artistic cultures, you are the original global explorer and the founder and guiding spirit behind the world-class Abu Dhabi Music and Arts Foundation, which has recently celebrated its 20th anniversary, for which it was lauded by the Aspen Institute for its international role in cultural stewardship. You, Huda, have been a tireless advocate for women's leadership, first modeling it yourself in every way by devoting yourself to causes as diverse as health and human welfare, domestic abuse, and human trafficking, but always and principally the arts. But you have also highlighted the vital roles that women play in the UAE and in the MENA region. Indeed, you learned just this week, in fact, you just told me last night, that you will soon receive the Chevalier de la Légion d'honneur from the French government, the first woman from the Gulf to do so. Not only do you believe passionately in the power of the arts to build community, create bridges, and strengthen the social fabric of our nations, you also believe in their power to educate. Each year, ADMAF, the foundation and the festival, reaches 40,000 children, young people, and adults through its annual programs and outreach. Founder of the annual festival, you have created ties across the 7 Emirates, but also across the world, bringing artists, musicians, collagists, performers of all kinds into dialogue across cultural borders. It's my great honor. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris, and with the recommendation of the faculty voting in assembly, I confer upon you, Huda Ibrahim Al-Khamis, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, at the American University of Paris, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Don't let anyone tell you you cannot do it. Don't.
May I ask Ambassador Nicholas Burns to come to the podium? Mr. Chair, distinguished guests, faculty, students, parents, friends, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our third candidate for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, Ambassador Nicholas Burns. Let me read your laudation. Ambassador Burns, parent of Sarah Burns, class of 2005, you cannot imagine the honor it is today to recognize your 30-year career in public service to the country of your birth, the United States, but also through your ambassadorial and diplomatic work and many thoughtfully and responsibly negotiated agreements to the world. You are a veteran of the U.S. Foreign Service who not only served as ambassador to NATO and to Greece, but also to the administrations on both sides of the political spectrum of 3 of our last presidents. You were a member of the National Security Council under Clinton, Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs during the Bush administration, and a member of John Kerry's Foreign Affairs Policy Board under Obama. You were the State Department's third-ranking official when you led negotiations on the U.S.-India Civil Nuclear Agreement, and you served as the lead U.S. negotiator on Iran's nuclear program. Today, you are a chaired professor and director of the Future of Diplomacy project at the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard, where you teach young people who believe in the power of diplomacy to avert war, to think globally, to seat themselves in the chair of another, and to practice the critical art of negotiation in which both sides win. It is our honor to recognize your life's work as a public servant, a specialist in foreign relations and national security, an author and a teacher, but foremost and importantly for us, as an ethical, values-driven human being and global citizen. I'm sure that it will not be lost on this audience why it is important for us today, in this year, to honor such a principled, thoughtful, intellectual, globally engaged American diplomat and statesman. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, the American University of Paris, and with the recommendation of the faculty voting in assembly, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. As you accept this degree in hood, we welcome you to the American University of Paris community. Ambassador Burns is now going to address the class of 2017.
Merci bien, Madame la Présidente. Mesdames, Messieurs, surtout les étudiants, merci bien pour l'invitation d'être avec vous ce matin à Paris. Ladies and gentlemen, it is such a great pleasure for me to be here with you this morning. I am a father of an AUP grad, so I understand the meaning of a commencement like this. It's so joyous to see these students receive these awards, all women, by the way, this year, which is very impressive. And I'm really honored to be in the Théâtre de Paris with you. To President Celeste Schenck, she's an extraordinary president and leader. Thank you for this invitation to be with you. To Ray Henze, the chair of the Board of Trustees, and to all the trustees, this is a great honor for all of us who are receiving these honorary degrees, so thank you very much for that. To Sultan Soud Al-Qasimi, whom we've met at Harvard last year, to Her Excellency Huda Ibrahim El-Khamis, these are two extraordinary people who are lifting up the Middle East. Congratulations on your honorary degrees this morning. To the parents, you've been saluted, but you need to be saluted again. You've done a great job with these wonderful students. Congratulations to you. And especially, this graduation is all about the students seated in the middle of this auditorium. I want to assure the students that I understand the perilous position of a commencement speaker. I am literally the one person standing between you and your diplomas. So I promise to be brief this morning, but I must say it's a special opportunity for me to be back in Paris 40 years ago. That's a long time. I was a student here in my junior year at the Institute of European Studies and at the Sorbonne, Paris 4, and like I think the experience probably for all the students from all over the world who are here, it was a life-changing experience for me to learn about French history and culture and language and art, this extraordinary country. I developed so much respect for it. I've lived in 6 other countries as a student and diplomat. I think I learned more here at the age of 20 than I learned in all the other countries combined. It was an extraordinary year. Most importantly, I met and I fell in love with a very intelligent and very beautiful young woman who was also an American student here, and she's here today somewhere, and we've been married 36 years. So I want to thank Livy. And ironically, our oldest daughter, Sarah, came here in 2002 She met her husband in Paris. We have 2 other daughters. So I think you know where I'm going with this. We're going to give them an all-expenses-paid trip to Paris so we can become empty nesters for the first time. Sarah had, and Ray and I shared this experience, we both had daughters here. Sarah had an absolutely transformative experience as a young student here. And she sent Libby and I an email as we were taking off the other night, and she said, I want to tell you why this was so important to me. And she listed the following professors who had a big impact: Jim Bitterman, Susan Perry, Ann Mott, Jeff Gilbert, Nathalie Deboise, Paul Gott, and Hal Gardner. And I think Hal is here this morning, as well as Susan. So as AUP parents, we really came to respect this institution and value it and understand its place in the world. And your president has just described it to you. You're a global university. There aren't many like you. And so you have a special mission, the faculty does, and the staff and the students, to continue this. And in my case as an American, there's a sense of pride, I think, for all of us who are Americans, that your founder, who was an American diplomat, Lloyd de Latimer, he fused in your university 2 traditions: the intellectual tradition of France with the intellectual tradition of the United States. And France, I must say, is our oldest and most constant friend in the United States. We wouldn't have had our revolution successfully made without the French at Yorktown. We have so much to congratulate and thank the French for this morning. In that respect, if you look at our history, Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson came here 240 years ago to try to secure French support for our young nation. Some of our greatest artists and authors, James Fenimore Cooper, Samuel F.B. Morse, Mary Cassatt, Augustus St. Gaudens, John Singer Sargent, they came here as young people in their 20s. They're seeking freedom and liberty in the 19th century. And the African-American artist Josephine Baker, she came here because she couldn't succeed in her own country in an age of segregation in the middle part of the 20th century. And at the time when Americans came first here in the greatest numbers, it was 100 years ago. It was during the Great War. It was before the United States entered that war. And young people, men and women, came here from American universities to fight for France in 1914 and 15 and 16 as volunteers. Some of them formed the Lafayette Escadrille. They were pilots at the dawn of aviation, and more than 68 of them fell from the sky, in the elegiac words of that time. In the very first air battles in history, and the other day, Libby and I were just walking around not too far across the Seine from AUP and found this lovely memorial to them that had been put up many decades ago to all these young people who came because they felt a union with France and the values, the democratic values of France. It was a beautiful thing to see. And for me, your university is truly special because you're the permanent link here in France between the French and American peoples. You've been in existence 55 years. Your roots are planted very deeply into French soil. Your limbs and leaves are intertwined with the great traditions of both countries. I learned a very important lesson when I was an American diplomat overseas, an American ambassador in Greece and NATO. Our embassies and consulates among all of our countries are very important in forming tight relations between governments. But it's often our private institutions that find a way to have the deepest connections between countries. And I think that's the role of the American University of Paris, not just between our 2 countries, but among 100 countries, because that's the group of students that you represent. Your president reminded you of this searching question that Lloyd de Latimer asked when he founded your university: how do we transcend the bounds of narrow nationalisms? That's the question of your generation in a globalized world. And you've answered it, and you're answering it. Because in addition to English and French, you speak 86 languages, I believe. You're from 110 countries. You are the perfect expression of our globalized world. And you think of that world with its integrated global economy with the digital and cellular superhighways, the cloud, GPS, the internet. This is the world that you're inheriting and you're going to lead. And these transformative technologies have knit together for the first time in history everybody on Earth. 7.5 billion people in 195 nation states. And with that globalization comes enormous responsibility that we take responsibility for each other across national boundaries, across cultural, linguistic, and religious boundaries. And with that in mind, because I did promise to be brief, and you do need to get your diplomas, I just had two quick thoughts for you this morning, because graduation speakers are supposed to provide some advice. The first bit of advice is an Olympian challenge, actually, for the ages and for your generation. It is nothing less than preserving the democratic world from rising authoritarianism and anti-democratic populists in many of our countries. When AUP was founded, when your university was founded, there was no question what the transatlantic community stood for. Democracy, human rights and human freedom, free trade and free speech. NATO existed to defend democratic peoples against communism. The common market and the European Union existed to end the historical animosity and warfare between France and Germany. We assumed in those years, when we were younger, that democracy was secure. But the defining events of your 4 years at the American University have been anything but, because we've seen major challenges to democracy, our democratic way of life, not just in Europe and North America, but around the world. Consider the following: Vladimir Putin's aggression in Ukraine, as well as Georgia, the rise of an authoritarian government in Turkey, the Brexit vote in the United Kingdom, the awakening of narrow nationalist spirits across Europe. The most dangerous of these may be the return of the far right in its most powerful form in Europe since the 1930s. Viktor Orban in Hungary, Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, Alternative for Deutschland in Germany, the extremist government in Poland, the Golden Dawn Fascist Party in Greece, and most notably Le Front National, Marine Le Pen, here in France. I don't need to remind you about how powerful these forces are. They're organized, they're well-funded, some have support from Moscow. They could, if not challenged at the ballot box, and especially in the hearts and minds of Europeans, change Europe, change the United States and Canada, change the world if we're not careful. It was a populist party that authored the utter disaster of Brexit in the United Kingdom. It was a populist leader in my own country, Donald Trump, who unleashed the cynical politics of division between black and white, Christian and Muslim, rural and urban, in order just to gain power in the White House. As he arrives in Europe this week, he is the very first American president in 7 decades to cast doubt on the central building blocks of the transatlantic world, the European Union and NATO. He holds high the banner of an America First movement. Of course, every president, from the United States or France or Spain or Germany or elsewhere, must have her country's or his country's welfare come first. That's only natural. But if America First means shutting down trade agreements, diminishing our alliances, closing our doors to immigrants and refugees, and demonizing the press and an independent judiciary, then it will deny the very history and core values and principles upon which our country was founded, with the help of France 240 years ago. Your connected generation knows all too well how the far right works. They are disciples of fake news and altered facts. They contest reason and empirical thought by denying the scientific basis of climate change, which is the greatest threat to the human race. Their pernicious ally, Russia, has interfered in the French elections, the American elections, and is currently interfering in the German elections. Fortunately, and here's the good news, due to the wisdom of the Dutch people, especially due to the thousands of students who worked for the young Democrat Emmanuel Macron as he won his stunning victory here in France 2 weeks ago, due to the solidity of Chancellor Angela Merkel in Berlin, the populists will not overturn European democracy this year, but they will continue to try on both sides of the Atlantic. So my first recommendation to you is this: please continue to believe in the beauty, the power, and the truth of our democratic way of life. Defend it from the hate-filled ideologies of the far right and their assault on our liberties, and especially this morning as we receive this tragic news from Manchester, defend it as well from the despicable terrorists who murdered innocent people last evening. My second recommendation follows the first. We will not succeed in preserving the West if we spend the majority of our time, all of us, me included, staring at our computer screens or tweeting from the sidelines as more powerful, more sinister, and more determined forces seek to organize and weaken our democracies in the halls of power around the world, but especially here in Europe and the US. There were echoes of those words and those sentiments that we have to organize, that we have to take responsibility, that we have to act. In the words of another visitor to Paris, actually 117 years ago, our former president at the time, Theodore Roosevelt, came to the Sorbonne in April 1910. He addressed French university students like you. Here's what he said about how to change the world. He said, "It's not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man, but I'm going to modernize him, or the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, who knows the great devotions, who spends herself in a worthy cause, who at the end knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she or he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." That's an extraordinary statement. Their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Roosevelt's message in Paris a century ago was clear, and it was right. If you really want to change the world, you have to go into the world. You have to go into public life. You have to go into the arena. You have to battle for what you believe in and defend it here in France and around the world. President John F. Kennedy and his centennial, remarkably, May 29, 1917, is just in a few days. Here's what he had to say to echo Roosevelt. "One person can make a difference, and everyone should try." So that's my advice to you on this very beautiful and hopeful morning. Defend our democratic way of life, have the courage to get into the arena, make a difference for our world, make it more just, make it more secure, make it more peaceful. Because all of us here today are depending on you, and we're looking forward to see all you accomplish as you live and write the history of our world in the decades to come. Thank you for who you are and what you will do. Thank you for the great honor of allowing me to speak today. Congratulations.
This is now the moment of awarding bachelor's and master's degrees to the class of 2017. President Scheck, could you please come forward? You need to, no. You'll speak. Will the January and May 2017 candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please stand? President Schenck, Provost Grant, Chairman Hensey, I present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts. They have successfully completed all requirements for the degree and have been approved by the faculty.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Please be seated. Will the January and May 2017 candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science please stand? President Schenck, Provost Grant, Chairman Hensey, I present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science. They have successfully completed all the requirements for the degree and have been approved by the faculty.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Please be seated. Will the August 2017 candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science please stand? There's more than that. President Schenck, I'm pleased to present the candidates for the Bachelor of Art and the Bachelor of Science, who will be receiving their degrees this August upon completion of all their degree requirements. We now turn to the Master of Arts candidates. Will the January and May 2017 candidates for the degree of Master of Arts please stand? President Schenck, Provost Grant, Professor Perry, Professor Payne, Professor that's it. Chairman Hensey, I present the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts. They have successfully completed all their requirements for the degree and have been approved by the faculty.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Please be seated. We now turn to the Master of Science candidates. Will the January and May 2017 candidates for the degree of Master of Science please stand? Oh. President Schenck, Provost Grant, Professor E. Hart, Chairman Hensey, I present the candidates for the degree of Master of Science. They have successfully completed all the requirements for the degree and have been approved by the faculty.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the American University of Paris, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Science with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Will the August 2017 candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts and Master of Science please stand? President Schenck, I'm pleased to present the candidates for the Master of Arts and Master of Science who will be receiving their degrees this August upon completion of all their degree requirements. Please be seated. I now call on Martin Vervat, Director of University Outreach and Advancement.
Thank you, Mark. Class of 2017, parents, family, and friends, it's my distinct pleasure to congratulate you all and welcome you into the AUP alumni community, an ever-growing community that, including all of you, now consists of almost 20,000 alumni and former students. During your time here at AUP, you may have already noticed the ongoing commitment of this amazingly diverse family. Long after leaving AUP, alumni continue to be involved in our community, and you may have benefited from scholarships, from financial aid, attended lectures in the Distinguished Alumni Series, maybe had a door open to an internship or even a job. You've witnessed our campus fully renovated and how, with the purchase of the new building at Quai d'Orsay, these transformations will have a long-lasting impact on AP student life and experience. And none of this would have been possible without the generosity of the entire community of alumni, parents, and friends that have supported you. So wherever you go after today, 20,000 members of the AUP alumni community in 142 different countries will always be near you, to accompany you on your journey, to help you find your direction if you occasionally feel lost, or just to make the journey more pleasant and have a good glass of wine, or maybe more in AUP style, a glass of champagne and canapes. But before you go, I hope you promise us two things. First, please stay connected to us through our alumni office, through email, internet, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, in any way, or in any channel that tomorrow's world will bring. And let us know where you go. Help us connect you with AUP friends around the globe. And secondly, do travel back to reconnect with your classmates and make new friends among our future graduates, to inspire them with your journeys, your stories that will send them off on their own. In true AUP style, my colleagues Amber and Daniel, who are over there, will offer you a small parting gift, which is a luggage tag. Not to ensure, I think, that your luggage will get lost, because as an experienced traveler, you probably have learned not to trust airlines and travel hand luggage only. But you will be surprised how many of your fellow alumni you may meet in airports here in Paris, in the US, in the Middle East, or in Southeast Asia, or even in South Africa. True global explorers like you, I wish you all the best for the future and safe travels. Congratulations.
This is my favorite part now, where I get to make myself whatever, you'll see. And I apologize in advance if I butcher your name. It's not on purpose, but there are many of you with weird names from all over. I usually butcher the French names because I go so fast I don't recognize them, and I was born French. Nobody's perfect. Okay, now I will read the name of the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Master of Arts, and Master of Science. As you proceed onto the stage to receive your diplomas, if you stand one row at a time, only one row at a time, people seated behind you will be able to see the stage. Now to the families and friends. Although I know this is an exciting time, I would beg the audience to please refrain from applauding again and again until all the degrees have been awarded. Otherwise, the champagne will be flat when we are all done. Bachelor of Arts, Safian Ado Ibrahim. We're going to have to move fast. We're going to have to move faster, guys. Guillermo Adrian, Departmental Honors in Comparative Literature. Ariela Afsal. Sarah Taib Hamed. Rahaf Al-Khatani, cum laude, Departmental Honors in History, Department Honors in International Comparative Politics. Tamara Alomari. Hélène Alfaidze, Departmental Honors in International Economics. Farah Nader Al-Zaben. Sarina Amini, cum laude. Kitty Ashaya, cum laude. Honors in International Comparative Politics. Kelsey Elizabeth Armstrong. Jade Moralola Asensio, summa cum laude. Francisca Bashoffen-Hecht. Tamam Khalid Bader, cum laude, honors in International Business Administration. Nicolas Dandiniaje Banduardena. Kalia Barnard, honors in International Economics. Shalise Barnes, cum laude. Brian Connor Bodendistel. Zineb Bayram. Noemi Botnarova. Rodrigo Caballero Quiroja. Beatrice Antonia Monica Callaghan, honors in International Economics. Constantine Valentin Capatina, honors in Philosophy, Politics, and Economics. Roman Dimitri Carmenate. Veronica Senicheras. Noé Clementine Clemens. Alexandra Cohen, magna cum laude, honors in creative writing. Ana Maria Koric, summa cum laude, honors in history. Mariuca Pia Crosini. Louisa Lyon Crawford. Gianni Andre Credel Heil. Brianna Jen Delfs, summa cum laude, honors in philosophy. Nasia Rihanna Dodson, cum laude. Alexandra Caitlin Duncan, cum laude, honors in art history. Beatrice Truth Duncan. Trent Alexander Eady. Dania Ejaz. Narmin Ramadan Elferjani. Elisaveta Falkova, summa cum laude, honors in art history. Julieta Firmat, magna cum laude, honors in international comparative politics. Ambra Jael Fisser, cum laude. Drew Fitzgerald, cum laude. Joshua David Franklin. Marie Gazazian. Andy Brown Genschenberg. Ryan Khani. Natalie Gilhul. Anna Marie Goodson, cum laude, honors in international comparative politics. Alexandra Elizabeth Gray, magna cum laude, honors in art history. Gabriela Cristina Amarstrom, cum laude. Mohammed Hamza. Sarah Elizabeth Harper Johnston, cum laude. Frida Wold Erringson, honors in art history. Laurel Marlene Haidewol. Gia Yanashvili. Savannah Louise Jenkins. Caroline Ann Jones. Courtney Danielle Kelly, cum laude, honors in international comparative politics. Rusuden Kubazidze. Petra Krupova, summa cum laude, honors in international business administration. Torla Juliana Lagon, cum laude, honors in international economics and international comparative politics. Maria Angelina Enriquez Laos, honors in international comparative politics. Sony Jefferson Leon Schultz, magna cum laude. Alexis Joseph Levenmetsoupoulos. Leah Gallon Levine. Victoria Kathleen Lewis. Lauren Claire Madrigal. Melchior Mao de la Quirontonnet. Isabel Susana Matos Model, cum laude, honors in psychology. Dakota Sage Matthews. Safi Mirgani, cum laude. Sebastian Model. Maisen Ali Nasser Mohammed, cum laude. Samim Sadek. David Laurent Muller. Jordan Heather Nadler. Nathalie Hélène Lebert, cum laude, honors in film studies. Caroline Nigogosian. Guram Nikolaishvili. Sirin Madiha Obagi. Grace Catherine O'Connell. Emmanuel Adams Oshiomore. Gonzalo Andres Otaola. Soyoung Park. Jameson Pepper. Alia Picanso. Rebecca Pisani, honors in international comparative politics. Sarah Plates. Elisa Gabella Poisson. Madison Christelle Pugh. Sana Vinette Rasmussen, cum laude, honors in global communication. Rafael Antonio Wald Reisman. Marie Robin, summa cum laude, honors in history. Zain Said. David Sariol Galam. Elizabeth Sydney Segre Laurence, magna cum laude, honors in global communication. Syed Zain Ul Abidin Mahoub Shah, honors in international economics. Zane Teresa Simpsone. Jennifer Michelle Smith, magna cum laude, honors in history. Sarah Margaret Stokes. Viola Sutkina. Scarlett Rose Tanous. Emmanuel Sarah Tirard, cum laude, honors in international comparative politics. Tami Babi Tlemkani. Talia Grace Lewis Strad. Killimaylan Jeanette Tran McCarthy. Sorry. Wen Tu. Capucine Tuffier, cum laude. Anyekan Udemeu Fot. Anne Elizabeth Valo-Basker. Priska Violati. Ekaterina Vorobyeva, magna cum laude. Hannah Helfi Magdalene Winter, magna cum laude, honors in philosophy, politics, and economics. Sarah Jen Worthington. Yap Shane Wang. Anastasia Yarova. Zenep Yüksel. Eleni Claire Zafirulis. Sarah Luna Saka. Clara Isabel Zimmerman, magna cum laude, honors in global communications. Zoe Sizovic. Camille Ziska. Sydney Zorbas. Bachelor of Science. Kenza Bricha. Tom Caville. Dina El Razi, cum laude. Fabrice Pierre Kornienko. Maya Nassar. Olawolua Ogun. Antonio José Parra. Nicole Pizzorni. Xaviera Justine Steele, summa cum laude, honors in computer science, mathematics, and environmental science. Masters in Global Communication. Samuel Baird. Nu Barzani. Vanessa Shallow. Alia Heath. Taylor Leropoli. Tara Nigar Jamali. Lori Martinez. Amanda Taylor. Gabrielle Wooden. Master of Arts, Global Communication, Fashion Track. Catherine Caldwell. Stephanie Elcham. Jan Vincent Gonzalez. Jewel Goody. No, bad. Laura Mitchell. Tara Savarez. Melanie Windish-Gretz. Master of Arts, Global Communication, Visual and Material Culture Track. Robin Davis. Brenda Gayton. Jasmine Jones. Alexandra Kerr. Taylor Rafa. Master of Arts, Global Communications, Development Communications. Ashley Boykin. Chelsea Carter. Christina Castello. Ibak Duxier. Giseline Finbo. Fasia Hardy. Crystal Kramer. Noazi Mshwara. Faith Torin. Master of Arts in Diplomacy and International Law. Zoe Brennan. Megan Cahill. Alison Canfield. Vanessa Leona Cardenas. Morgan Spees. Master of Arts in International Affairs. Eli Abisad. Nihal Abu Marayel. Stephanie Alexander. Maxine Bash. Sheena Chen Das. Renee Chantrill Refriger. Laura Ann Gelidek. Grace Henley. Stella Kim. Vahi Mirikian. Carly Nguyen. Fatima Perez. Christopher Scott. Master of Arts in International Affairs, Conflict Resolution, and Civil Society Development. Viviana Alvarado Pacheco. Charlotte Dubold. Master of Arts in Public Policy and International Law. Alison Bunting. Master of Science in International Management. Ariadna Archer. Jennifer Gonzalez. Isabel Romero. Master of Science in International Management, NGO and Mission-Based Track. Natalie Cassidy. Caitlin Fitzgerald. Malika Lamrani Karim. Master of Science in International Management, Sustainability Systems, Michelle Roberts. Diana Sanabria. John Daniel McKeever. Joita Mishniowska. Connie Morland. Akuba Raisa Wajas. Mr. Chairman, Madam President, Provost, this concludes the conferral of the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Master of Arts, and Master of Science degrees. Graduates, you may now, in order to indicate your new status as university graduates, please shift the tassel of your hat. Hold on. From the right to the left for the undergraduate graduates, and from the left to the right for the master's graduates. Okay? We're gonna wait a little bit because all the masters not back from the photo. Okay, so let's do that again. In order to indicate your new status, undergraduates, please shift your tassel from the right to the left. And master students, graduate students, from the left to the right. Bravo! Now, if you were crazy, that'd be the moment you would throw your hats up. Okay, I'm glad to see you're not crazy. The following senior speaker was elected by her peers of the senior class. Shh. She's also a recent graduate in international comparative politics and management. I now call on Kitty Arshaya.
Distinguished guests, friends, families, faculty, staff, alumni, and most importantly, the class of 2017. It doesn't matter where you're from, how old you are, what your majors or professions are, what your GPA, IQ, or political views represent. There is one thing that all of us in this theater unanimously agree on, that education matters. But I believe that where you receive this education and how you receive it matters even more. Good education is the one that shapes us into better versions of ourselves. Good schools are the ones where success is not measured just by academic achievements. Good teachers are those who teach you how to think and not what to think. Good institutions are the ones where who you are and what you stand for matters, where each voice is heard and each idea counts. And good students are those who benefit from all of this and step beyond the boundaries. Unfortunately, this kind of education is still a privilege rather than a basic right in many parts of the world. But fortunately, we are all privileged, as today we're graduating from a very special institution that delivers this kind of superior education, the American University of Paris. And for that, we should be very proud. The class of 2017 has experienced the most of AUP. We witnessed exciting changes and growth in our community, remarkable accomplishments of our students and alumni, amazing project of the Student Government Association, and clubs such as BBC Area and AUP Cares. And the list goes on and on. We all somehow contributed to these astonishing achievements. But unfortunately, we also came across some devastations. Distress following the attacks of 2015 has left its scar on our student life. That tragedy and the ones following it should have scared us. Yet here we are, representing courageous, multinational unity that cannot be intimidated. This speech would be incomplete if I didn't mention another tragedy that deeply affected each one of us. I still cannot overcome the pain caused by the passing of the brilliant student, the kindest human, my friend and compatriot, Nutsa Makhwiladze. I know I speak for many when I say how much she is missed, but I also know I speak for all community, even for those who didn't know her, when I say she will be remembered for years to come. Because the grief that we saw from all of you after her passing cannot be forgotten. Because the way we all stood together through it cannot be forgotten. But most importantly, because Nutsa deserved to never be forgotten. So thank you for remembering her always. Let her passing be a reminder that we should live each day of our life to fullest and celebrate all exciting moments that life offers. Therefore today, the class of 2017, we celebrate our success. We're graduates now, and we should be proud of ourselves not only as students, but as individuals. We should be proud for the bravery that we showed at crossing the oceans for higher education, for managing to keep up with the standards of American liberal arts education while adjusting to the European lifestyle, for adding French to the list of the languages we speak, for leading truly independent lives full of responsibilities much earlier than others at our age, for exploring cultures of our friends from all over the globe, and for being ambassador of our own countries in AUP. We should be proud because through being a member of this community, we continue demolishing all the borders, and we build numerous bridges instead. So be proud of who we've become and what we can do. Be proud, but also be thankful, because all our success wouldn't be possible without the people that surround us today. Thank you, dearest parents and families, for being supportive of our dreams. Thank you, renowned faculty, for teaching us how to analyze, to question, to debate, and only then to build conclusions. Thank you, dearest staff, for building a home-like environment and for always being there for us. Thank you, AOP, for teaching us to independence, courage, and integrity. With the help of each and every one of you, as students, we have accomplished more than most people manage in their lifetimes. We became global citizens. So I will repeat the question that I'm sure all of you have been asking or trying to answer for the past several months. What's next? Well, I'm not qualified enough to give anyone advice on how to become incredibly successful or happy. But my classmates, let me remind you that we are all masters of our fate, as well as we're significant influencers of the fates of the others. So whatever comes next, we should always strive to influence, strive to pass forward what we acquired. And as of today, the greatest asset we have is our education. As Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Yes, the world still requires some changes. There are still many walls to demolish, many barriers to overcome, many threats to face. And yes, education is a power which should never be underestimated. Add a lot of effort and a bit of kindness to it, and extraordinary things will happen. Great things are born when working hard and working together, especially working with those with various backgrounds and life experiences. So, class of 2017, let's bring together the power of education, the power of our differences, and let's do it together. Let's change the world. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kitty. The following graduate speaker was elected by her peers. She's also a recent graduate in global communications. I now call on Crystal Kramer.
Hello, everyone. Ketty, that was astounding. Thank you for saying all the things I forgot to say. Hello, my name is Crystal Kramer, and I'm the graduating graduate student speaker. Quite a mouthful there. I had originally thought to come up here and just wing it, and then common sense took over, and I wrote a lot of things down. In the search of what to say today, like a true 26-year-old adult at a loss for what to do, I called my dad. In our long and meandering conversation about life, we came up with 3 main guidelines that make a great speech. Be brief, be funny, and have a message. Being brief is easy. There are so many of you out there, and it's really scary and warm up here. Being funny, well, that comes later. But having a message, I really struggled with that part. What could I possibly have to say to you all? I'm sure Ketty feels the same way. What worldly knowledge do I have to impart that will help you in any way whatsoever? I know, I couldn't think of anything either, so I Googled it. And I found a blog post entitled 7 Strange Questions That Help You Find Your Purpose in Life by a man named Mark Manson. This post and these questions have inspired this speech today. The concept of a life purpose will haunt you forever. I'm convinced that no matter how old you are, how successful you seem to be, the search for that purpose never truly ends. And that's really intense. Because you can't just live your life as a bump on a log. Unless that's your purpose, and then good for you, do that. But for most of us, we do stuff. Some of that stuff is important, some of it is unimportant. The unimportant stuff is really just time spent between the important stuff. Finding that important stuff is a personal journey between you and yourself. So, I give you the first important question to ask yourself on this journey. My apologies for language in advance. What is my favorite kind of shit sandwich, and does it come with an olive? I'm gonna let that sink in for a moment. What do you enjoy doing so much that you are willing to go through all the unimportant and unpleasant aspects of it to be able to do that one thing? Because everything sucks at one point or another, usually at multiple points, sometimes all at the same time, but it's not great all the time. But this is not supposed to be a pessimistic view about how the world is a terrible place. We get enough of that from the world itself. What I'm saying to you is to look for something that matters to you, that you enjoy doing 75% of the time, and that when you are served that shit sandwich, you at least have an olive to look forward to. So now that you have your sandwich, you have to ask yourself, self, what makes me forget to eat and sleep? What passion do you have that completely absorbs you and you forget to do necessary things? For me, this is reading. If I have a book that I cannot put down, I genuinely don't. I will stay up until the wee hours of the morning. I'll skip lunch and dinner, not breakfast, because I love breakfast, because I just have to know what happens to these characters. Now, reading every single book ever written is not a life's purpose, I'll give you that. But the general principle behind this slightly obsessive tendency is that I love to learn new things and need to have my mind engaged in my professional life, or I'll go crazy. No matter what it is that holds your attention for hours at end, find where you can apply the basic principles behind this activity and do it. Okay, so you have your sandwich, but you forgot to eat it because you were so busy tootling down the road of life, absorbed in the task at hand, and then blam! Scared you, didn't I? Routine kicks in, habit takes over, and you realize that you have not done a single new or exciting thing in who knows how long. Which brings me to my third and final question of the afternoon. Self, how can I keep my life, and therefore my purpose, exciting? Exciting is a very subjective term. What is exciting for me might not be exciting for you. Excitement doesn't need to be a big, grand experience. It can be simple pleasures that break up the everyday. And that is why I say this journey is just between you and yourself. It's incredibly personal because you are the only person who truly understands your values, big and small, and why they are important to you. Once you have that framed in your mind, put them into action. Excitement comes about as a result of that action. Complacency comes about as a result of inaction. The overall message that I am briefly trying to put out to you is to do something. Anything is fine, as long as you do something that you care about, that excites you, that inspires you to think beyond yourself and your place in the world, and that is truly yours, inside and out. And finally, for the simple pleasure that breaks up my everyday, I have a joke for you. Trying to lighten the mood. Are you guys ready? What is the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? One is really heavy and the other is a little lighter. Thank you.
Let's zip through the end of that. It's now time to close this ceremony, which I hope... Was that bad? Which I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I call upon Amelia Harvey to return the mace to Professor Rosenstein. Now I would like to ask our faculty marshal, Professor Roy Rosenstein, to lead the recessional, beginning with the platform party and followed by the faculty. The graduates will be exiting along the aisles on their left. I ask our guests, to remain seated until the end of the recessional, at which time we invite you to join in a reception honoring our graduates in the lobby of the theater. As you exit, and this includes the graduating students, please disperse so as not to block egress from the auditorium. Refreshments are located on the ground floor, in the ground floor lobby, as well as on the balcony level. If you move quickly away from the exit doors, everybody will be able to circulate in the lobby areas and enjoy the reception. We would also like to ask your assistance in maintaining the ambiance of this lovely theater and not to leave glasses anywhere outside of the building. Finally, a word of thanks to the theater staff, Mesdames et Messieurs du Théâtre de Paris, Mesdames et Messieurs de la Technique. Nous voulions profiter de cette occasion pour vous exprimer notre gratitude. Pour l'accueil que vous nous avez réservé cette année et le grand professionnalisme qui vous caractérise. Un grand merci donc à Madame Mosca, à toute son équipe. Ce fut un vrai plaisir de collaborer de nouveau avec vous. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.